Hey everybody, it's Chase Campbell, and in this video we're going to be learning how to be able to make pinto beans or kidney beans, so sections of the higher level beans. So in beans and legumes, there's actually three different levels. So there's small, alright, then there's medium, and then there's big. And so right now what I'm going to be showing you is pinto beans, which are in the big category, right along with kidney beans. And the others, so in the middle is black beans and chickpeas, and then small is lentils. So that's a way to kind of be able to determine them in different categories. Alright? So let's go ahead and get started, and I will show you what we're going to be using to do this. So what you're going to need is you are going to need a 2-quart glass jar. It can be a mason jar like this one, or if you have a different glass jar or container with a lid on it, then you can use it, and that'll be perfect. Okay? Alright, then we're going to need baking soda. Baking soda, right? So, why baking soda? So for all of the other different legumes out there, the lentils and the black beans, the other two categories, we need an acidic solution in order to be able to soak those and get those ready to cook, in order to strip off that phytic acid. But for pinto beans and kidney beans, any beans that are that size and bigger, we actually need an alkaline solution in order to be able to do that. And this is what the baking soda is going to do, is it's going to create an alkaline solution for it to be able to soak in. And we're going to be stripping off those phytic acids. Now the phytic acids are an anti-nutrient or a protective barrier around your bean or legume. And what it does is it actually inhibits your body in absorbing all of the nutrients that comes from the bean or the legume. So it's very important that we make sure that we soak it in the right solution for the right kind of food. Alright, so there we go, baking soda. Then we have, we have the infamous kombu. Not a lot of people know about this little part of it. Well, I guess same as baking soda, but this one maybe even less so. So kombu is a seaweed. It comes from the Pacific. And the importance of kombu is that we actually use it during the cooking process, not during the soaking. We're going to be using that a little later. But what it does is there's a complex carbohydrate inside of beans and legumes, and what they do, that complex carbohydrate is called an oligosaccharide, and it's very hard to break down. So it actually does not break down when we cook it inside our pan. Who knew? Have you ever passed gas before? Have you ever, had bloating or any kind of thing like that? Well, that's actually the oligosaccharide. Because it's really hard to break down and everything like that, then you're going to now have other side effects. So this actually, the seaweed or the kombu, actually has chemicals and nutrients in it. Makes vitamins and minerals more so, in order to be able to break down the oligosaccharide while it cooks. It's amazing. So all you need is a 2-inch strip of this, and that's what we're going to use it for. Then we need pinto beans. So we're just going to need 2 cups of dried pinto beans. I do have some other pinto beans that were soaking before, but they weren't ready. I just barely started them, and so I'm going to use them now because they still need to soak. Alright, then we're going to need a skimmer. Alright, I like to use a fine mesh skimmer to be able to skim off the scum, which I'll be going over a little bit later on, or you can just use a spoon. Then wooden spoon, which you never know when you're going to need to use it. I usually use the mix or to be able to stir. Then you're going to need a pan on the stove, alright? And you're going to need a stove, you're going to need a lid to the pan, you're going to need a strainer. Then I have the pinto beans that are already done soaking, so we're actually going to be showing how to make them. Ooh, yeah, baby. And then we got the water, because you're going to need a lot of water. We're going to need water to start it, and we're going to need water to cook it. Because we're going to be straining the water out of these beans, because it's been soaking and we now need to flush it out. Alright? To start, we actually are going to need warm water too. Warm water, because what that does, it helps open the bean and legume up, so that it can then open and release its nutrients and its enzymes. And it also helps to strip off that phytic acid, because as it starts to open, starts to expand, and the phytic acid has to start to let go. Alright. So I actually have some warm water in here. And we just want it warm. We want it warm enough that we can keep our finger in and be like That'd be a nice little bath. That'd be really nice bath water right there, you know? Yeah. So without further ado, we're gonna get started on this. So take your 2-quart glass container, whatever it may be, all right? And we're gonna pour our legumes in there. So you might be looking at it and be like, that's a huge container, Chase. Are you sure about that? And I'm gonna be like, oh, heck yeah, I'm sure about this. So with this container, with legumes are going to expand. They're going to get so much bigger. Any of you out there that are watching that have actually soaked their legumes before, you guys know that they expand. They expand like crazy. These ones that I'm putting in right now, these ones are big compared to the other ones I just put in. So we need to be able to give it room enough for it to expand. And that is very important. Because if we don't, then they can get really bunched up and they can start really start cramming and they can actually get stuck inside there. I've had them get stuck before. It's not very fun trying to get them out. I've broken quite a few jars that way. So I recommend giving them enough room to continue to expand on their own. Alright? So now when we have these in here, we're going to pour in our warm water. Here we go. Alright. You got to gauge it right. Perfect. So you'll probably need about, I'd say about quart and a half for this. If you have too much, that's totally fine, because then you can use it for something else, and that's perfect. So, but for this one, I got it perfect. Boom, I still have some in here, but I got enough water that's going to be perfect. So we want about 2 inches of water above our pinto beans, okay? And so that's what we're going to do. That looks pretty good. Once again, we want that much water. I'm just going to double them in. We want that much water because once it does expand, we want to make sure that we can kind of try to keep them underneath the water as best as possible. Now I'm going to add in our baking soda, and what you really need, all you really need, okay, is a pinch. So I'm going to reach in, I'm literally going to pinch. Pinch it. There we go. It's perfect. You like it? Just that little much? Just that little much. Baking soda is powerful stuff, so it'll do the trick for you, especially when becoming alkaline. Alright, now we're going to put the cap on, but once again, this is where this comes in. You can get down there and just mix it around. I like to make sure that I get all of that baking soda mixed around, and that all of the legumes are getting there, are touching the water. Then I'm going to put the cap on, and now we're going to take this and we're going to set it out on our counter for 18 to 24 hours, okay? And after that, it's going to be ready for us to be able to cook up. Ta-da! So that wasn't too hard. Pretty easy, eh? And now we're going to go to the cooking up part. So here is my container. I labeled it. I like to label things. Of pinto beans. And so we are first going to strain it out. It's very foamy, you can see, right? So we wanna pour all that off. We don't want to be throwing that in here for us. So let's go. I'm going to go over to my sink real quick. I'm just going to pour them out, rinse them real quick, and then I'm going to dump them in here. Ta-da! So now we have our pinto beans, and now I shall ceremoniously put them in the pot. Excellent. So yeah, now we've put them in the pot. Now they are all ready for us to go, to start getting them going. So we are now going to add water to this pot. And how much water we're going to need is, once again, just about that 1 to 2 inches above. Because we're going to be cooking this for an hour to an hour and a half on these beans. Okay, so some of them are going to float up, so don't worry about that. Alright, so want to make sure there's about inch to 2 inches, okay, anywhere between that. Because as we cook these, we don't want the water to get all the way down, because we're going to start burning them. So we want to make sure that we're going to have enough water to be able to keep it going. And at the end, you probably will have a little bit of water because of it, but better to have some than not. And at that moment, it's just the bean and legume juices, and you can enjoy them. They're not bad. You go for it. Okay. All right. So we've got this, and I'm now going to bring this up to a boil. And as we're bringing it up to a boil, what's going to happen is that on our legumes, they clean them as best they can, but there's still things, a little debris and other stuff that can cling on to them. And so by boiling them, and that releases the final little bits of that, I guess we call it scum, or those little debris, but I like to use scum for this. So it's going to release those last little bit, and it's going to float up, and it's actually going to be these little foamies on top. And so that's where this comes in. First, let's just skim it off, just like that, okay? Or, just like what I said, you can use a spoon, and you can do the same thing. A little less inexpensive. You probably have that at your home, I hope. But if you want to upgrade and you want to get a little bit easier, the skimmer is the way to go. Because you can skim and you don't pick up any of the beans, you don't pick up any of the water, anything like that. It is beautiful. So I love it. It's been a really good investment for me. Alright. We're going to bring this up to a boil. Our pinto beans have now come up to a boil, and as you can see, the foam is really starting to come on right now. So I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. I'm going to start getting at the foam. Look at that. Boosh! See, this is the importance of making sure that you get the foam off the top. Okay? Because all of this is stuff that we do not want inside of our dish, inside of our meal, our food. Okay, there we go. Ta-da! So we're gonna skim it off. Doing good, doing good. And now it's reduced just to a little bit. That's perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Oh, I love it when a plan comes together. Alright guys, so now I'm just kind of getting a little bit of foamies every now and then, and that'll be fine. I'm able to get the majority off of it now. So as it comes to a boil, I've lowered it down a little bit. We're now going to put our kombu into here. So right here, and what we're going to want is we're actually just going to want a 2-inch strip. Alright, I broke these in half a little earlier, but so this is pretty good right here, just about the size that you want. I'm going to add this one in just in case though, because it's okay if you add in a little bit more. It'll be totally fine. So you'll just take your kombu, once again, about that much. You can look at it, it's pretty good. If you just have that much, that works too, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw it in, just like that, right? Make sure that I get spoon, guys, you never know what's going to come in handy. Put it in, and then I'm going to reduce the heat to 1. I'm going to put the top on, and I'm going to let this cook for 1 to 1.5 hours, just right here on the stove. Our pinto beans are now done. It's been an hour and a half. Very good time. Watch right there. So now that they're done, we're going to go and take off our top. There they are. They're just simmering away, just boiling away. Perfectly good beans and legumes for you there. So now I'm just going to go and take it off. I still have my spoon. Alright. And this is an opportunity for you to pull them out, check them. I'm going to grab one. And they're very good. And there you go. So what you'll do next is you can strain the water if you would like. You can keep it in so you can keep them together in the water as well. So as you store it, helps it to store a little bit better. And then for these pieces of kombu that are in here, so you can actually keep them in here and just eat them if you'd like. I do that all the time. Or you can just chuck them as well. If that doesn't sound satisfying to you, if you really don't want that inside your food, I totally understand. You can go and do that as well. But for me, I'm alright with just keeping them in here. So after you're done, go ahead and enjoy. Do it. Pinto beans, kidney beans, remember any of those bigger sized beans, this is how we're going to make them. And I recommend that you go and do this. Because we all eat beans, legumes, that's part of our life. But of course, if we don't understand how to make them and what to do with them, then they'll become even a bigger part of our life when it comes down to health problems and gut problems, baby. So, whenever you make up pinto beans or kidney beans again, recommend you do it on your own. Soak it, prepare it, cook it, get the kombu, do it, and your body, you, your family, your friends will love you and will thank you for doing that for them. Alright? Thanks for watching, guys.